Good morning, Opening Pathways viewers. It's great to be with you again, and I'm again excited about my guest today. I have Tobie Spears, who's the founder of Be Humanitarian, with us today. As you all know, this is a passion of my heart, being a humanitarian, and Tobie is the epitome of that, and you're going to hear about what she's up to today. Tobie, welcome to Opening Pathways.
Thank you, Tom. It's so lovely to be here with you.
I'm so glad you're here. I want to jump right in and have you tell us a bit about yourself and Be Humanitarian. And I also want to know what sparked your idea to start it.
Okay. So I'm a mom. I am a business owner and a wife and all of the things, all of the titles. And I grew up really poor. So I grew up in in Utah, in this country where we have all sorts of social systems that keep children from going hungry and most of the time and being homeless. So I grew up using food stamps and Section 8 housing and all of the things um, after my mom left my dad. And so when we went to Guatemala for the first time, it was the first time I had seen like developing country poverty. And there was a stark difference in the poverty that I grew up in and the poverty that I was seeing in Guatemala. So that's that was the spark. It was just as easy as seeing a need and knowing that we could make a difference, knowing that we could change that. Um, so it was lovely. I actually did a little road trip. So the first time we ever went to Guatemala, I talked my husband into taking a little road trip from our home in Utah, and we drove through the rest of the country and drove through the entire country of Mexico and ended up in this teeny little country of Guatemala.
Wow. I love these stories of how things happen with us in our childhood that develop into who we become and what we work on as adults, or at least I see that often. I know that's true for
Mm.
me. If you read my book, you'll learn more about my life and growing up in a shack. And I think these things that move us forward are are so compelling for people to hear about. Speaking about your upbringing, I also find that there's somebody in the early days that either is a role model or something that drives us or puts something in the gas tank to do what we do. Who was that for Tobie?
It would definitely be my mom.
Tell
Yeah.
us about her.
Yeah. So, my mom had what I always considered like a really rough hand dealt to her. And so from abusive household to abusive husband after abusive husband after abusive husband. And finally, she was raising us on her own. And she really just had this look on life that there was always someone who had it worse off or better off than us. And that we didn't need to worry about comparing to either one. But if we were in the position to be able to be service, to be of service, then we should be.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
great thing. Yeah. So tell me this, what values have guided you from day one?
Hmm. Um, I think just like I would argue that being a humanitarian and being service oriented have many values. In those words, they have values of honesty and hard work and collaboration and respect for others, like all of those things. And so I would say all of it, like this big beautiful confetti of values that make up who I am. But I would say all of those things combined.
Yeah, there's your book title, Toby. A confetti of values. I love it.
Hmm.
Um, I'm interested to know, um, did you ever take a personal risk on this journey that no one knows about?
Um, Interesting. Okay, interesting question, Tom. I think there were a lot of risks to be taken. Um, and a lot of the time it just came down to where I spent my time. So, the risk probably I could have, I could say that the risk was like my career. So a lot of people spent their life working for money, and I haven't. I've spent my life working in the service of someone else and in the service of a community. And the risk has been just like maybe security for my family. My
Mhm.
husband, like, he pays all of our bills, but we could have lived in a much more comfortable position and had college funds for the kids and all of this extra if I had been working for an income.
Mhm.
So I think the risk, not necessarily like a risk, like a physical risk, but more of just like a financial risk.
Mhm.
And it was one I took, and I took my whole family on, and they were all really
Wow,
great sports about it.
that's great. That's great. Let me ask you this. Did you ever doubt your vision?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, I wish there was like a roadmap. I wish there was like a step one, step 1,000, follow these steps, you'll be successful, you'll help people, you'll do all the things you dream of doing. But sometimes what I call it, Tom, is like just the spaghetti method. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So always, always, always wondering if this is working and being flexible, like realizing when it's not working that I need to be flexible and change paths.
Wow, 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 wow. So I'm curious if someone was watching you back in your early days and saw what you're doing now, what
Mm.
surprised them the most?
Hmm. I don't know. I just recently had the funnest experience this past weekend of going to a wedding reception from my best friend from elementary, her daughter. And so, I don't know her children. We don't live in the same state, but we've known each other since we were in like 10. And um, I got a lot of people saying that even when we were that age, that I was still an example of kindness because it was so fun to run into just friends from elementary,
The
like,
best, isn't it?
so fun. We got to sit at the table and um so I don't know. I mean, if you would have talked to me in my junior high and high school years, I was going to go to law school. I was going to be this big shot attorney. I was going to make a lot of money. Um and you know, I didn't do all that. I didn't do any of that. I did go to law school. I didn't finish law school. And so maybe just that instead of just because I saw law school and a career as an out of poverty. And so I made that goal while living in poverty. Like I was not going to live like
And
my mom.
mhm.
I didn't want to be, I didn't want to come home to like the shut off notices and the constant fear of not being able to provide for my family. That was evident. I had decided that I did not want that. And it just seemed like law made money, and that if I could be a lawyer, I could make money and not be
Not have
poor.
to ever worry about that, right? And defend yourself, right? And defend
Yeah.
yourself.
So maybe that I'm living my passion, and it has nothing to do with making money. It has nothing to do with like status or accolades or, any of that. Maybe that would be something that somebody would have thought of when I was a younger me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love this. So tell me this, in your early days of be humanitarian, what did you learn about trust?
Mm. Well, I mean, you can spin it and make it really positive, or sometimes sometimes the reality is that oftentimes people say things that maybe they mean, but that they don't follow through on. And so I have learned truthfully to trust very limited people because because sometimes it doesn't happen and people are like, I've got all this money for you and we're going to, I'm going to help you do this and this and this. And then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So instead of getting my hopes up, instead of just jumping on board full, like, okay, let's do this, and then utilizing a ton of my energy, I am definitely much more guarded about people's promises, about trusting people um, with that, just regards of like volunteers or money, like donations. Um, but as far as like me and the community that I work with in Guatemala, that it's essential that trusting each other, that they trust that I will do what I say I will do, and that I trust that they will do the same. And that we could not be an organization, we could not be running if we didn't have a real high level of trust.
Yeah, interesting. In my life, I have found out, especially in my career, that some of my biggest mistakes have led to my biggest lessons or successes. Have you ever had a mistake that turned into success or a great lesson?
Well, I would say they're all lessons, all of the mistakes. And I think I can't think of one that's just like this obvious lesson that was this huge shift in the way we do things, but definitely being able to grow all the time and being able to like reflect back, like, did that work? Do I want to repeat that? Should I do that again? Um, and I think just having an open mind and questioning everything that I'm all the time is probably my path, my secret weapon is like, okay, and not being afraid to shift and not being afraid to change course because I know that that's needed. So, I mean, our the greatest lesson is learning for me every day.
I love that. I love it. I want to learn something every day. When I'm taking my last breath, I want to learn something if it happens. I love it, and it's really so important, I think, about the experience we have in this one wonderful life, at least in this body.
Right.
Um, how do you move through moments of burnout or uncertainty? What does Toby do to get through those times?
I have the best sounding board, my husband, and he listens to all of the things. And I mean, I could say like all these things for self care, but I think it's just an internal radar for me that I'm just like, okay, the path I'm on is a good path. The path I'm on is a valuable, honorable path. So my when I am dealing with burnout, it's not really burnout like in the sense of like overdoing something. It's sometimes just frustration. Frustration in not being able to do all the things that I wish we could
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. So tell me this. Um, what impact are you most proud of? Not at work, not professionally, not publicly, personally.
My marriage. Yeah. My family. Um, we both come from broken homes and I've seen, I mean, so much divorce. And so to be able to have been with this, with my partner and to be in a healthy, but like work so hard to stay together and still love each other most of the days. That's the thing that I am most proud of.
I love
And then my relationship with my girls, that they know I'm a safe place, and even if I don't agree, I'm still going to love them, and then I'll let them know that I don't agree.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Family is so important, I think, and especially when we have any kind of experiences that want us to ensure we create that safe, loving environment and have that experience for ourselves, right? Have you ever had to say no to growth because it just wasn't aligned?
Yeah, yeah, actually, we've been dealing with that. That's like exact question. Because a lot of people, so this is what I have noticed in my life is a lot of people want to donate things. So like stuff. And what I've been realizing, we were just in Guatemala a couple weeks ago, and so we've been taking down donations, which you could also call stuff. Um, I mean, I take thousands of pounds of donations for families. And although I believed that it was very helpful and very generous and all of the things, I started wondering if it was helpful or if I was somehow um, being a burden on the families that we're serving. So I've really taken a step back and I have removed the ask for donations for so many things because I want the stuff that we're taking to actually serve the families and not necessarily serve the people that want to give it, right? Like, because the mission is to serve the community. The mission isn't to make people feel warm and fuzzy about sending their stuff to Guatemala.
Yes,
So,
yes. I have this keynote I do called the philanthropic mindset, and um, I created it because I had people saying to me, Tom, when I have money, I want to be a philanthropist too. And it made me realize that we have a misguided perception of what philanthropy is because your smile or a hello can actually be a philanthropic gesture.
mhm,
And how that these things that we do, our time, talent, or treasure, can actually be of service to others and again, a philanthropic gesture. But like most nonprofits, I think uh, money is so important, the actual dollars and cents to be able to get the work done that we want to do. And I remind my viewers to never forget that while we sometimes think our donation isn't big enough to make a difference, that we know to be true that the $1,000 donation or 4 quarters comes from the same spirit of giving. It comes from someone's wealth, and it should be honored equally as much. So never think your gift is too small, especially this time of year. If you're thinking about giving, you're here today hearing from someone that's a perfect place as we're learning about Be Humanitarian and Tobie, where you might want to place some of your treasure.
mhm.
So
Wise words, Tom.
thank you, Tobie. I'm interested to know, um, you know, we get in the day-to-day grind, and sometimes it's really hard to stay aligned to our mission. I mean, let's face it, things can be a grind at times, even no matter how good we feel about what we're doing. How do you manage through that?
I I do like the little things. I bake. I find a lot of joy in the kitchen, especially like today. It's snowing outside. Like those are my days where I would rather just where I put my energy into making something fun and delicious. And I sit in the hot tub, I go on walks and relax my mind and,
Yeah,
just so I can deep breathe and find peace. So just I don't have like a routine that like 5 a.m. I'm meditating, but I meditate throughout the day. I find joy throughout the day to just to remember all of the great things that are
yeah,
happening.
yeah. I find nature does it for me. I got all bound up in a knot the other day and couldn't figure out how to get out of it. So I just turned everything off and went for a walk in this wonderful, beautiful place where I walk. And I'm always amazed how it clears the cobwebs out of the head, resets the body, and got to see some beautiful animals and butterflies. So I had
Mm.
a whole new perspective when I got back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, right? So tell me this, what is your boldest vision for Be Humanitarian for the next 5 years?
Ah, these are my favorite kinds of questions. Um, we have a piece of land and we have a little teeny house on that piece of land. And that house right now is being we've got a family living in there. They were unhoused, so now they have a safe little place. We have a couple of other really struggling families in our program that are currently also unhoused. And so my dream is to build a little duplex on another piece of our land so we have a couple of places where we have safety for our families that are struggling. And then we have room for this beautiful community center, and it will have 10 rooms, so lots of people can sleep there. I take volunteers to Guatemala so that we can serve the community. So it is a place of gathering, it's a place of sleeping, it's a place of for a library and a kitchen, and the whole community can come together and utilize this space. Um, and it's already architect. We've got the architects, we've got the builder, we've got everything except the money. So yeah, that is the big, beautiful, bold goal.
I love this. So I've got a question for you, speaking of money. If resource sources weren't a constraint, in other words, you had whatever you needed, what's the one wild idea you would pursue?
Hmm. Maybe something fun, because so often it's all about the necessities. Um, but take the entire community to the beach. Like that would be so fun. I have implemented a reward for each of our kiddos in the program that when they graduate high school, that we'll take them to the beach and we get to release baby turtles and go through the mangroves, and they've never been that far. It's the same country, but it's a different world, right? It's so far removed. The cost to get there is astronomical when you're from the village and you make $80 or $100 a month. And so that would be so fun. Fill the whole bus, fill 3 buses, and take everybody to the
Take
beach.
everybody to the beach. I love
Hmm.
that. I love that very much. So tell me this, what shifts are happening in our culture today that are lighting you up?
Tom, I just got 2 new sponsors. So we have sponsorships where individuals will donate monthly, and then they're connected to one of our kiddos. And that means that that kiddo is eating 3 meals a day, going to school, is safe and secure, and has all the things they need. I just got 2 new sponsors. One is 16 and one is 18. And I am so happy about that because, as you mentioned, a lot of people say, like, oh, well, when I'm this, I will give, right? Like when I make this certain amount every year, I'm going to give some of mine away. And I am so, I find so much excitement and so much joy in knowing that children who are working minimal wage jobs see the value in what I'm doing and see the value in giving to someone, that they can make a huge difference in their lives and they don't have to make $500,000 a year to do it. That's that's the joy right now.
I love it. I'm very fortunate. I say this on this podcast. I get to work with, or I've been able to work with many generations, and at Facebook with the millennials when I was old enough to be everybody's father. And I do a lot of work with Gen Z, the Zoomers right now. And I love where they're coming from. As we're at that age, we all get labeled with being lazy or something that we get labeled with, but underneath it is we're just trying to find our way, I believe. And also, I think societal shifts are happening there,
Mhm.
and that rattles us older folks every now and then. But I think that's where the magic is happening, and I love to mentor it. Tell me this, Tobie, what are you most hopeful about for the world today?
Mm, that we have more of them, that we have more of these 16 and 18-year-olds that call their moms and say, "Hey, mom, like for Christmas, I don't need anything. Can you just give all of that money to Be Humanitarian? I know they're doing a Christmas party for the whole community." I got a mom that said that. Like those are your people. Like, yes, like you're getting it. Like it's not about just more stuff. Like we have enough stuff. We are covering beaches in this world with stuff. We've got enough stuff to cover the globe. So let's stop doing the stuff and make an impact. Pay for university, pay for college, pay for high school, pay for somebody to eat. Like those are the things that are going to really make the biggest changes in our culture. And yeah, that's what we
Yeah,
need more of.
good. I love it. I love it. What is the maybe quietest but most powerful lesson you've learned on this journey with Be Humanitarian?
Hmm. That you don't have to speak the same language. You don't have to be the same color. You don't have to be the same at all, like on outward appearances or customs or cultures, but that we all have the same needs and the same wants. We
Yes.
want our families to be safe. We want our children to be fed. We want the world to be a safe, better place. I think those are the same.
Yeah. We're far more alike than we'll ever be different, for sure.
Yes.
So tell me this. If your younger self was watching this video,
Hmm.
what would you tell her?
Mm. Just to keep going, that even on the days where it sucks and you lose a sponsor and it's exhausting and you're like, ah, is this the path? That in the grand scheme of things, there's an entire community that's eating and going to school and thriving. So just to keep it up.
Good. I love that. So let's say you had a piece of advice or wisdom to give somebody that might be starting out on a journey of their own of doing something like you're doing, or just going into this world of the nonprofit where we're really in servant leadership for sure. What would your piece of advice or what would you share?
Um, that there will be no shortage of tenacity needed, and that you will have to ask uncomfortable questions and you will get told no all the time. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it.
Keep going, right? Yeah, keep
Hmm.
going.
Dory in the movie Nemo, Finding Nemo?
Yes.
Just keep swimming. Like, just keep doing it.
Yeah, I love to watch that movie every now and then. It's just every time I watch it, I find a new little lesson somewhere in there,
Mm,
right? It's the
yeah.
best. So, Tori Spears, thank you so much. Tobie Spears, excuse me, for being here today. Um, I have enjoyed our conversation here on Opening Pathways. Please tell the viewers about Be Humanitarian and how they might find you, and more specifically, how they might offer their treasure to you.
Yeah, we're on all of the social media. We've got our website and all the things, behumanitarian.org. You can find us anywhere. I would love to have listeners join us in Guatemala. They get to come and see what we do firsthand. Or if they want to sponsor a kiddo, they get to make a difference, a real life difference in somebody's life.
Tobie Spears, thank you for being on Opening Pathways today.
Thank you, Tom.
And to my viewers, this is Tom Lenoble on Opening Pathways. I'll see you next time.